Am I on now? All right. I always think I'm on. Anyway, what I was saying earlier was thank you for being here. It's wonderful to welcome everyone. We are here because we believe in the power of life, the life that is within us, the life that is around us, and it's the life, the light, and the love of Spirit. That's what this is all about. That's what we are all about. So we come together in community and we get to shine on each other. And if you're feeling a little dull today, if you brought in some stuff that's been heavy on you, there's a couple of things we do. We can write out a prayer request. We have them at the back of the sanctuary. And you can write out this prayer request, whatever's heavy on your heart or, that's been worrying you. You just write it down because here's what we'll do. The other minister, Reverend Linda, and I will pray. And what we do is we pray as a witness with you and for you, that whatever this experience is that you call fact, there's some truth beyond that. And so while it's going on, we are so supportive through prayer. And we know that prayer is powerful, and we know that prayer works because every single Sunday, after we close out our main part of the service, we do our answered prayer. Or it can be called sharing your good. But what we talk about is the prayer that we've carried and that has been answered. And we know this is powerful because when you hear about someone else's answered prayer, what does it do? It gives you a feeling of joy. It gives you a feeling of excitement. It gives you the, could that possibly work for me in this situation? And here's what this teaching is all about. You have the power within you to direct, call forth, and experience your call into life. Not everything you see in front of you and not everything that happens to you is what you create, but what you create is your response to it. And that's all we're doing in this lifetime. We're responding to life. So I'm here to welcome you today, to tell you that if you're new here, we have welcome packets at the back or in the foyer, and please pick one up. Or if you know someone that you'd like them to know a little bit more about our teaching and how incredibly empowering it is, please pick up a welcome packet and share it with them. And again, if you would like prayer support, please fill out a prayer request form in the back, and you don't have to put your name to it. You can just put what the prayer is you would like support in and put it in the prayer box back there. Also, oh my goodness, this is so fabulous to have everyone here today and all those who are joining us online, because we know that we're all of one family, one tribe, one community, and we stand under the shelter of each other. So let us start out our service today. And we'll start out with our first congregational song, which is You've Got to Sing When the Spirit Says Sing. Now, I don't know about you, but Spirit within me is always telling me to sing. It's the people around me that don't want me singing all the time. So if you'd like to stand up and join us. And this is your declaration. Sing when the Spirit says sing.
Sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to shout when the Spirit says shout. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. When the Spirit says shout, you're gonna shout. You got to play when the Spirit says play. You got to play when the Spirit says play. When the Spirit says play, you gotta play right along. Play when the Spirit says play. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, the Spirit says dance. Dance with the Spirit says dance. Rest Spirit says rest. You got to rest when the Spirit says rest. You got to rest when the Spirit says rest. When the Spirit says alone. Got to sing when the Spirit says sing. We got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, we got to sing right along. When the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing.
Woo, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to sing, we're going to dance, we're going to pray, we're going to rest, and then we're going to sing again. So let's just move right into that place that we always move into on Sunday, where we bless our children. And we are so blessed today to have children in our sanctuary. A baby 9 months old, a young lady 9, 11. Okay. And all the children that are here in our hearts, and all the children that are out there in the world, we want them to know that we are here to support them, to guide them, to listen to them, to honor them, and to recognize their magnificence. And so in order to do that, we remind ourselves through our prayer to the children. So I ask you to say with me, we see you, who you really are, made in the image and likeness of God. We cherish you, we support you, and we love you. Oh, and the children of the world includes you and I, for we are all children of the living God. We are all here to be our most magnificent expression of God. And so as you allow the breath of God that is the life within you to move easily and effortlessly through your body, and as you relax into the chair, wherever you are or whatever you're doing, just allow yourself, as that song we just sang said, rest when the Spirit says rest. And so resting in this moment, in this perfect, sacred, holy moment, in the now of life that is. In this moment, you are the expression of life, whole, complete, and perfect. And as we remind ourselves that we too are the sons and the daughters of God, that we too are that spark of life, for there's only one life, and that life is God, and that life is all of its creation, you and I, and all that is. And we are brought to this point in this moment in time where we can say from the very depths of the sanctuary within us, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for all that I am, all that I am becoming, all that I receive, and all that I share. For those who love me and those I love. For those who challenge me to be a greater expression of your love, God. For my eyes to be opened where I've had them closed before, where I thought I knew, but there is always a greater truth. So as we allow the breath of God, the breath of life, to move through us easily and effortlessly, let us again go to that place where we are saying, thank you, sweet Spirit. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says says sing. Gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, gotta sing right along. Sing when the Spirit says sing.
Oh, let's give him some love. Come on. Good morning. So I have the question of the day for you. Are you still playing small, or are you ready to be who you came here to be and live your life to the fullest? Yeah, are we ready to be who we came here to be and live our life to the fullest? There was this man, I have a story for you, who committed a crime, and he was sent to the king for punishment. And the king told him he had the choice of two punishments. He could be hung by this rope, or take what's behind that big, dark, scary, mysterious iron door. Well, the criminal decided on the rope. And as the noose was being slipped over his head, he turned to the king and he asked, "By the way, out of curiosity, what's behind that door?" And the king laughed and said, "You know, it's funny. I offer everybody the same choice, and nearly everyone picks the rope. So tell me, what's behind the door? I mean, obviously, I won't tell anyone." And the king paused and he answered, "Freedom. But it seems most people are afraid of the unknown, that they immediately take the rope." Now think about this. His curiosity, if he had listened to that curiosity and he had been curious enough about that door and he had taken the door, he'd have walked away a free man. And sometimes that happens to all of us, doesn't it? We make a poor choice. Last month, Reverend Yvonne talked about curiosity, or earlier this month. And it's been called one of our superpowers. Did you know you had superpowers? Because curiosity is one of them. It grows our awareness, it sparks our imagination, and it helps us build our mental equivalence. Now, mental equivalence is something we talk about a lot here, but Emmett Fox wrote a book called The Mental Equivalent. And it says in that book that for anything we want, healthy body, friends, opportunities, and above all, the understanding of God, we must furnish a mental equivalent. Because what enters our lives in a material sense is some belief that we have held in our mind. He says we must rid ourselves of the mental equivalents we don't want. You know, those difficulties, those faults, those habits that we've carried along with us, and we need to embrace what we do want. Think about this. Everything we see embodies mental equivalents to some degree. A mental equivalent of one of the over 8 billion people on this earth. Electric light bulbs were at first a thought in someone's mind. Telephones, airplanes, washing machines, chairs, tables, everything we see at one time was a thought in someone's mind. We create with our minds. We create with our minds, and we can build mental equivalents of peace and love that way. And we will see it manifest in our world. We can manifest peace and love by having that mental equivalent. So let us be open to live fully, to receive more of God's good. So I have a quote from Mr. Fox's mental equivalent. There was this quarrelsome man who makes New York too hot to hold him, so he moves to Chicago. He thinks he'll like Chicago, but pretty soon he has enemies there too. So he goes down to Kansas City because he heard there are a lot of nice people in Kansas City. But soon he's in trouble again. Why do you think that is? He has what is called a quarrelsome disposition, and he takes that mental equivalent with him wherever he goes. There's another man, and wherever he goes, there is peace. If there's a quarrelsome family and he goes to visit them, they're at peace while he is there because he has the mental equivalent of peace and true divine love. We build our mental equivalents. Each one of us builds our own mental equivalents by thinking quietly and persistently of the things that we want. Emmett Fox says, if I tell you not to think about the Statue of Liberty, what are you going to think about immediately? If I tell you not to think about it, yeah. So what is the first thing you think about? So instead of focusing on what you don't want, let's focus on what we do want. What we do want. There are two important things in refining our mental equivalent, and those are clarity and interest. Our superpower, curiosity, it's only one of our superpowers, moves us out of complacency and into our greater yet to be. It would have moved that man into his freedom. Learning more about the world around us and more about ourselves can lead us to new and amazing, amazing discoveries, transforming our lives and perhaps transforming the lives of others, maybe even transforming the world. We've probably all heard that expression, curiosity killed the cat, right? I think it was the way that adults try to control the children and keep them out of mischief. Curiosity killed the cat. Kate Berardo wrote, it wasn't curiosity itself that killed the cat. It was his inability to deal with the new situations he found himself in. When it comes to learning about new environments, curiosity is the key. So curiosity has led to some great discoveries. Think about this. Mankind has gone from living in caves, discovering fire, moving into communities, traveling into space, and landing men on the moon. We have telephones that we can carry in our pockets that are more powerful than those original computers that filled a whole room. Do you remember? They had to have refrigeration, and they had their own special room, and they were huge. And do you remember the original Star Trek story where they'd take this little device and they could talk to each other? Beam me up, Scotty. But these little held devices, they just push the button, somebody could hear them, and guess what? We thought that would never happen, and each one of us who has a cell phone can do the same thing right now. We can talk to people thousands of miles away. Thousands of miles away. We live in a complex world, don't we? It's a complex world, and exploring different ideas keeps our mind open to new learning so that we don't get stuck in what no longer serves us. I'm sure we know someone, and perhaps we've been there ourselves, when we are stuck in what no longer serves us, kind of like having your feet in the glue. On the other hand, there are some things that we've learned in the past that we thought were worthless. You know, in school when you had to learn algebra, you thought, I will never use this. You use it every time you do a recipe. I mean, you use it every day in some way or another, but we don't call it algebra anymore. We get to prove the value of what used to be worthless in the now. We get to prove what we get to get comfortable with being uncertain about things. You know, I never liked to be uncertain. I always wanted to know exactly what was going to happen. But we get to learn to be uncomfortable about not knowing. Remember how much fun when you were a kid it was to explore? I remember, going, it seemed like a big area. It was somebody's backyard. But it seemed like a really big area, and they had this fish tank, and we would go and, count the goldfish. We explored. We were great explorers. And that carries forward into our adulthood. We still like to explore, don't we? Yeah. A tidbit from the Science of Mind archives is that Ernest Holmes was widely known as the eternal question mark. He was curious about everything, and he asked innumerable questions. He said, quote, "From the beginning, I was a nonconformist. I asked so many questions, I drove my relatives crazy." You remember when those of us whose kids are raised now, and those of you who have children, it's the why. No matter what you said, they had to ask you why, till it was like, finally, because I said so, that's why. But, you know, they were curious. Curiosity can transform our lives. It can transform the life of each one of us. And when we explore things, we have a greater understanding about ourselves and about the world, and we can make amazing, truly amazing discoveries. It's not just about learning, it's also about unlearning. A lot of things, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of things that I learned in the past turned out to not be true. A lot of things turned out erroneous, and they're no longer of value to me. Think about curiosity in the world. If we didn't have curiosity in the world, we'd still think the world was flat. You know, we would not have accepted the idea that man can fly. Curiosity is a marvelous tool. It's a marvelous tool that all of us can use. It's not thinking or insisting we know. It's letting go of the idea that we know everything. And sometimes that's hard to do. It's letting go of thinking we know and being open and receptive and to the ideas of others. New ideas, new ways of being, new ways of doing. It's getting out of our own way. It's getting out of our own way and allowing ourselves to have an adventure. It's fun to have an adventure, no matter how old we are. We get to become as the little children, and we get to learn, and we get to grow, and we get to make room for God's inspiration. We get to make room for God to work through us. George Bernard Shaw said, "You say things and you say why, but I dream things that never were, and I say, why not? Why not?" And Albert Einstein says, the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when one contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries to comprehend only a little of this mystery every day. Curiosity. Curiosity leads us in different and new directions. And curiosity is not just at work when we're exploring, when we're actively exploring, but it's also at work in times of surrender. When we surrender, when we allow the quiet to surround us, we open the door to potential, to infinite potential. We also benefit when we engage in our other superpowers, like meditation, where we can be divinely inspired to uncover our good and to know our truth. And envisioning, we ask Spirit to show us the highest idea for any situation. Again, using our spiritual practices is important in living out to our highest good, to our highest idea. Myrtle Fillmore, who is one of the founders of Unity, in the oldest known letter in her handwriting, dated September 7th, 1891, said, "My dear, you ask why you do not enter into the understanding you desire. And I tell you, you are already in it. But think you have some great thing to do to get there. The kingdom of God is within you, and all you need to do is be still and know. Be still and know. Know your connection to the divine. Explore the possibilities. Recognize and know that you are an expression of that divine, and live your life to the fullest. Don't hold back in fear." Yeah, sometimes we have these opportunities and we don't take them because we are afraid of what the outcome would be. But you know, usually if you have an opportunity and it doesn't work out, another opportunity comes up for you. So instead of being afraid, to live boldly and allow God to express through you. Dive in with curiosity and allow the joy of God to be expressed as you because there's only one of you. There is no one else like you anywhere. You are a unique, individualized expression of God, and there is no one exactly like you. You are one magnificent, shining light. Don't hide it under a bushel. Don't dampen it by thoughts of being not enough. Shine brightly, shine brilliantly as you live out loud. Let us see the magnificence of who we truly are and of the world we live in. Let us revel in the wonder of life. Life is a wonderful thing. And revel in our new discoveries. Every day we can discover something. It's why I like being around little children. They're always just delighted when they discover new things. They have such a way of being open and joyful when they discover something new. So let us boldly choose, too, what is highest and best for us. Because if you don't choose it, someone else is going to choose it for you. So what we want to do is to choose what is for our highest good. And we do that when we use those spiritual practices of meditation and visioning. We get to discover for ourselves what our highest good is. Let us live out loud. Let us live the joy of God. So what is your choice today? I choose love. I choose joy. I choose taking responsibility for my life. How about you? Let's live in possibility. Live in possibility. Possibility is knocking on your door. It's up to you to open it and invite it in. It's up to you to allow the joy of the Spirit to express itself in, through, and as you. In Ernest Holmes' book, Living Without Fear, he says, quote, "If we were to further inquire of our imagination what the ultimate purpose of evolution is, the most logical answer it could give would be the purpose of life is to produce beings who can consciously cooperate with it. That through such cooperation, the evolving principle itself may more completely express," unquote. And he's talking about us. He's talking about us, beings who can consciously cooperate with the purpose of life. That's what you all are here for. We can participate in the activities that remind us that God is active and present in our midst. We can use those God-given gifts, which we all have. We all have them. Feel that divine within you, just for a moment. Close your eyes and take a deep breath and just feel your heart beating. Feel that divine within you and embrace the truth of who you are. Each one of us is an individualized expression of God. And we get to live our lives out loud. Individualized expressions of the one. So what does living your life out loud mean? What do you think it means? Well, according to pop culture, it says it means living your life with sass and with spice and with flair. Living your life out loud. The Urban Dictionary elaborates further to include living generously, genuinely, open, and trustworthy. Living out loud, put simply, is the practice of being yourself. The truth of who you are, regardless of anyone else's opinion, to be true to who you are. Live your life's purpose and follow your instincts. Follow your bliss and live your life with passion now. You don't have to wait. We can do it today. You know, it's not sometime in the future I'm gonna. It's let's live our lives out loud right now. So I have a quote that comes from Mary Oliver's Death, When Death Comes. When death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? And therefore I look upon everything. I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And I look upon time as no more than an idea. And I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy, and as singular. And each name comfortable music in the mouth, tending as all music does towards silence. And each body a lion of courage, something precious to the earth. I want to say, all my life I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. Isn't that what we all want? We want to be married to amazement. We want to live out loud. We want to be the truth of our being. We want to accept that we are divine beings, that we matter. Each one of us matter. What we think, what we do, it all matters. We truly are children of the living God. So I'd like to ask you now to please join me in prayer. Sweet, sweet Spirit, Father, Mother, God, that divine and holy essence in which we live and breathe and have our being, God the good, omnipotent, God who is light and love and peace and joy, God who is health and wholeness, God who is wisdom and strength, God who is knowledge. I am one with that divine presence. And if that is true for me, it is true for each person here. It is in its essence that we all live and breathe and have our being. God created us out of itself. And so what I know is I know that we go forth today living life out loud, living the truth of our being, knowing that we are individualized expressions of the one, knowing that we are held in the arms of Spirit, knowing that as we move forward, our life unfolds with ease and with grace, that we are filled with joy that is overflowing, that all we meet are affected by the joy that we are, and I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for the opportunity that we have to express that wholeness and that oneness and that love. I am so grateful for the opportunity that we have to live our life out loud, to be the truth of our being. I am grateful now as I simply release this word to the working of the law, which always, always and only says yes. Please join me in affirming, and so it is. I think we have I want to thank everyone who has joined us online here today. We appreciate you. We are looking forward to seeing you again next week. We love you and we bless you. Thank you. Okay. I think I